The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of Green Acres and our guests. These general gardening tips and suggestions may work for you, as well as those from alternative sources. When using any garden products or tools, read and follow all label directions. And learn how to make your yard summer strong at bewatersmart.info.
The Green Acres Garden Podcast is the podcast dedicated to helping gardeners hone their growing skills while we celebrate our love of plants. So whether you're new to growing or a seasoned gardener, you're sure to learn something new. Join the fun as we have conversations with world-class growers, passionate green thumbs, and professional garden experts from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Listen every week. We'll answer questions you didn't know you had. And away we grow. Hello there, season's greetings, all you green thumbs out there. I hope you get what you wished for this year. Welcome one and all to the Green Acres Garden Podcast, the home for all you plant lovers out there. So if you love to garden, grow, then this is the podcast for you. I'm your host, Kevin Jordan, teacher by day, podcaster by night. And I love being here, man. This is the best. We're going to have a fun episode today for you. I know everyone's busy. It's a busy time of year, and your last thing on your mind is probably your garden. At the time of recording and probably at the time of listening to this, I still have yet to do all my shopping.
Oh, geez.
So I better get out there and get after it quick.
Oh, no.
But I've been on top of my gardening.
That's good.
So we've been busy at the school, Austin. So right now we are pruning quickly and furiously all of our dormant fruit trees, your peaches, your nectarines, your plums, your apples, your pears, cherries, all those stone fruits, all those dormant deciduous trees, those fruit trees that are losing their leaves right now, they need to be clipped up, cleaned up. So anything dead or diseased, damaged branches, they're getting gone. Any branches that are going too far away from the center of the trunk, I'm getting those gone. Getting those gone. Ones that are pointing towards the ground, those are gone. You can bring the height down a little bit. We're opening up that center. Man, they're looking really good. And it's one of those things where every year I feel like I get a little better. And then not even that, the more that I've created the structure in these trees, and you build off kind of the previous year's growth.
Is there less to do?
And there's less to do.
Oh,
and that's what I'm finding. And so as I've learned and it's as I'm learning, I've found that it's actually getting easier and easier each year.
Cool.
And then the time that it takes is getting less because I've pruned it the year before. The structure is kind of getting there.
When did all these trees last get pruned? Is there a summer pruning that you did?
Absolutely. It's a great question. I do summer pruning quite intensely. Actually, I learned to do that. Someone had to teach me that. Our good bud, Ed Livo.
Yeah.
Who kind of was the godfather, one of the originators of the backyard orchard culture. And that really is strategies for cramming in as many edible fruit trees together, putting them really close, pruning them heavily, and part of that is
keeping them short.
Summer pruning. So you're right there, bud. Yeah, keeping them. You can keep them short in the summer. That way you don't have to get out the ladder. Everything should be right at your arm's reach. I love that. And even at the school, I've kind of learned that. I'm like, this makes the trees a little easier to maintain. Grabbing that fruit is a little easier. And then even pruning in the wintertime, when we do our heavy pruning now, it makes it even easier. So a little summer pruning to control the height, winter pruning to control the shape and the structure and the health of the tree. We're off and running. And now if you're wondering, I got peaches, I've got nectarines, I've got these trees doing this. Get out there, give them a look, prune them up. And also, this is super important, this is time to spray your dormant sprays.
Oh, it is spray time.
It is, for
this
sure.
This is the copper stuff, right?
Absolutely. You know it. So peach leaf curl, all these different shot hole fungus. There's a bunch of different diseases that can plague these trees. And some of them, like the peach leaf curl, are so easy. An ounce of prevention's worth a ton of cure. In this case, it's so true. Just a liquid copper spray. You can spray it on there 2 or 3 times in the dormant season. Read the label. Always follow those instructions. And you don't want to do it right before rain, obviously, or when it's windy.
Or right after a rain?
Or, I think you want to give a little time to dry out. But, just follow those instructions on that labeling, and you'll be fine. We do it at the school, and I've done experiments where we'll spray certain trees, and then we'll pick one, sadly, like you're not getting sprayed. And that
as a control test.
Just to see, just to show them so they can see it. And I don't recommend people do that.
No.
You want a clean garden. You want a clean yard.
Because in the spring, when the peach leaf curl starts to show itself, is that the time when it comes out?
That's when you'll notice it, right?
And then it's too late, right?
Yeah, then at that point, the leaves, it's already there. You kind of have to just pull them off. If they get too damaged, you toss them out. Don't even compost them. Clean those up. It's not the end of the world. I've seen cases where you get a little bit of it, the tree kind of flourishes, it kind of pushes all that out, and it moves on. Okay. And I've seen other times where it gets really bad, and you'll see entire branches that just kind of decay and die back. So you don't want it, but it's super easy to avoid. just by spraying a little bit.
Go get that liquid cup.
For sure. And this is that time to do it. So that's what we've been doing. And obviously we've been harvesting like madmen.
Really? So what citrus are you pulling right now?
Dude, so much. I know a couple episodes back we brought up citrus, but still I think it's one of those things and I love citrus.
I've been eating mandarins.
Dude, I brought you some as a gift. So in the studio, Austin, if you'll notice, I actually sliced up something that you may or may not have had. This is from my own home garden.
Ooh.
So I've got some Satsuma mandarins.
This is Satsuma?
Yeah, it's a Satsuma. Not much bigger than like a walnut. That thing is pretty small, pretty bite-sized one. But
let's get a bite on this.
So delicious. I mean, the rind, that skin just peels off. Man, it is like...
I could just taste how healing it is. It's so good.
Full of juice, right? But check this out. So these ones right here, the bigger ones that I have are the Cara Cara orange.
Wow.
And I brought them in because I think our listeners, if you're looking to extend your harvest, if you love I love oranges. I want to be able to eat fresh fruit as much as possible. Lemons, limes, mandarins, and oranges. I'm telling you, in our zone 9B here, it is such a great climate and growing condition for citrus. I mean, they love it. You can grow them in pots. You can grow them along the fence. You can do so much with them. Even if you live in a zone where it gets a little bit cooler, there are some fun things you can do with frost fabric and bringing them indoors or under a patio. So there is some flexibility. But for us, I don't even do any of that. They're all outside in the wild, doing good. And guess what, Austin? These came off the same tree. So I grafted a branch.
This mandarin?
Yes,
and
both
that?
of those.
Cara Cara?
Yes, same tree. So it started off as the Cara Cara.
Cool.
I clipped off one of the main branches and then grafted on a Satsuma. I've given it space. I had to prune back the orange to give it space in that. One little quadrant of that tree is a Satsuma, but the rest is all Cara Cara.
Wow.
I love the Cara Cara. It is a navel orange. It's juicy. It's fleshy. It's hyper sweet, and it's low acid, and it's an early season ripener. So
I'm surprised. Yeah, these are both incredible right now. But the Cara Cara is big.
They're rocking
and ripe right now.
Yeah, and so we have these beautiful Washington navel oranges.
Do you have more? I want more.
Yeah, I actually do have in my truck. I'll leave you a few.
This is so good.
I'll leave. They're my precious. I swear. I look at them all in the spring. We get the blossoms. They smell so sweet, and then I watch them grow all summer long, and then now they've ripened.
Wow.
And I love it because if you had just a few trees in your yard, you could really have an amazing season. So if it was just the oranges, I mean, you could have the Cara Caras now, the Washington Navels, and the blood oranges, and the Maros. Those are going to come on a little later in the season. The Valencias even later beyond that. So you can really get an amazing season of eating.
Wow.
I just love it. So I wanted to share that with you.
Dude, thank you for bringing that. That was so delicious. And I've been seeing, my orange tree is a Valencia, I think, and it's slow.
You have a monster tree too.
They're not ready yet, but I've been seeing out in the neighborhood, lots of citrus is ready to go. Lots of lemon trees are full. I think pomelos and grapefruits are looking good as well.
It's so weird. All this cool, cold weather. It's been foggy, and now we're going to get some rain. It's like, there's some delicious tropical fruit out there. Go get it.
Incredible. And, I've been at the stores too, and all of the citrus is like, this is the time to buy this stuff. And we've got...
Good point.
We've got citrus ready to rock at the stores. We've also got fruit sleeves.
I bought a citrus this last weekend. So like I said, I was watching my boys. My wife's out of town. I'm like, what am I going to do? We went to Green Acres, got ourselves a Christmas tree. Gorgeous, dude. Noble fir, looks beautiful. And then I was like, you know what? I got to get a living tree. So I got a Cara Cara.
Nice.
I bought a 5-gallon one. Give it as a gift to my cousin. Hopefully they don't listen to this just yet. Ruin the surprise.
Spoiler.
They have a little. They moved with a little bit of land. They have a little bit of space. So I've been like slowly. Every time I show up, I'm like, hey, I got a couple fruit trees, and so I put in a drip system. We got a little micro orchard going. Now they're going to get themselves a nice navel orange.
Awesome.
So I'm fired up on it, and I cannot wait to see what's going to be available when those bare roots show up.
Well, so let's see. When this comes out, bare root roses are currently already out. Their first shipment have hit all the stores.
I need at least 2.
So bare root roses are in, and then more shipments are on the way. And then bare root trees just started getting processing, and I believe the week this comes out, the week of Christmas, they should be hitting stores. So if you start showing up to Green Acres, you're just going to start seeing more and more of them. Bare root fruit trees are incredible. They're a great way to buy a fruit tree. Matt Sudas does this cool processing where they plant them in these pulp pots. So they're
the proper soil mix.
It's not true bare root anymore, but yeah, they put this good soil mix in there and starter fertilizer, so it's ready to go. And then when you plant that, you just score that pot and cut it up a little bit and plop it in the ground, and it's going to take off. These things are ready to rock.
They're easy.
One last thing about that, though, I remember the crew out there at Matsuda's was teaching me, once you plant it, you want to kind of chop a lot of the tree off.
We might have to have a whole episode on that.
We should.
I was in the garden today pruning the fruit
crazy.
trees, and there's a section of our fruit trees that were donated years ago, and they were donated because they were kind of the wacky, wonky ones, and so they needed really harsh pruning then, and we didn't do it. And so now, like I said, years later, I've been battling it, drop crotching, bringing down their canopies and shaping them up. But like you mentioned, if you do it at planting, and that's what Ed Livo would tell you, plant it, cut it like knee high. It's
right.
And I was telling the students,
I was thinking like 3 feet, but yeah, Ed Livo says even shorter.
2 to 3, but it'll blow your mind because you think, I bought this 5-6 foot tree. I got it because it was the tallest one in the batch. But no, look at how thick. Really, it's all about how thick the caliper is of that trunk. You make sure it's got good shape, good healthy graft line. But you're actually going to be cutting it back to a 2-footer no matter what, because that's what will start your scaffolding, create a nice low canopy, allow you to have this really healthy, bushy, full tree that has an open center, but with nice limbs that have a nice vase shape over time. It's the way to do it. And it kind of boggles the mind. You go, I'm going to cut back my fruit tree, make it smaller to make it bigger.
And then you keep cutting
but it does work.
Every year.
And then every year you'll shape it, and you can kind of select for your main branching. But like basically, that nice open center, good airflow, less pests, less disease, less fungal problems, all that. And so pruning is great. And so, like you mentioned, do it early on because believe me, you'll save yourself a lot of headache.
Okay, so thank you for giving me this amazing
I got more
fruit.
for you too.
That's so delicious. I hope everyone gets the chance to eat delicious citrus like this. And if you're inspired to grow your own, I say go for it. All the stores right now are stocked full of options. So go check it out, get inspired, and grow something delicious. But I want to keep thinking in this episode, Kevin, about things that are timely right now, things that are seasonal to this moment. And the other big thing that really stands out to me, I'm seeing it everywhere I go around, is camellias.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Camellias are this beautiful flowering tree. And Sacramento is, I think, the camellia capital of the world.
Well, I was going to laugh with you about that. So we're the farm to fork capital. We're the city of trees, and we're also the self-proclaimed camellia capital of the world, which is funny.
Awesome.
I think there's just a lot of people here who just love plants and gardening and growing, and I love that. I think it's something to be proud of. There's a big history of camellias here. I mean, dating back to like right after the gold rush, people started showing up, doing things. Businesses started flourishing, and folks brought in camellias in the 1850s. And we're like, hey, let's import these. Let's figure them out. And then people just started to fall in love with them. And so we've had this deep history and love with them here. I went to the Camellia Festival last year.
Yeah.
Super fun. Met so many amazing people out there. It was a really good time. Actually, I had to like skirt out of one obligation just so I could go to there. But it was totally worth it. And beautiful camellias. And so, I mean, the Sasanquas, the Japonicas, all the different varieties and sub-varieties of each one is so cool.
Can I ask you about that? You just mentioned, I think those are the two main types, because when I see the varieties at the stores, it says Camellia S or Camellia J, and it's Sasanqua or Japonica. And it seems like these are the two big main types. And all of the ones blooming now, that I'm seeing a lot of, I think the Yuletide ones.
I was going to say that's the one producer Greg loves, dude.
Because that's like, I think Yuletide refers to it being blooming around Christmas, right?
Well, I love it. It kind of connects back to the citrus, whereas like you don't expect beautiful flowers in the middle of winter, just like you wouldn't expect delicious sweet fruit. Camellias are just that. And the Sasanquas, like the Yuletide, they don't mind this cool weather. They actually embrace it. They love it. And when everything else is kind of going to sleep and taking a break, that's when they were kind of firing things up. They're beautiful. I mean, hummingbirds. It's one of those things that will actually offer some food and forage for some of the creatures at the downtime of the season. But yeah, Sasanquas, they'll start blooming in fall to early winter, whereas the Japonicas kind of pick up, whereas those ones kind of taper off. That's when the Japonicas kind of kick it up a notch. And they're beautiful. I mean, waxy. I mean, they're kind of these rose-like blooms. They're even, larger, and the pinks and reds and whites, really delicate petals. They're so beautiful. It was really cool to see. They had a whole competition at the festival where you'd see them, the ones they grew, they would post them and have them out, and everyone's kind of battling for who had the most beautiful. It's so cool to see. People were so fired up and passionate. I was like, whoa, these people really love their camellias.
I think I have a favorite.
There's
one called Apple Blossom.
Oh, yeah?
And it's like a very vibrant pink petal.
Is it pink and white?
Pink and white. Yeah, it is stunning. It grabs my attention from pretty far. I was just kind of checking them out at the store, and this one I was drawn to immediately. It's so beautiful.
There's so many varietals out there and cultivars. It's kind of cool. Like I said, just like a lot of like your roses and lilies and things, there's hybridizers. There's people always working on new stuff. And what I love about the Sasanquas is that they can actually tolerate a bit more sunshine than the Japonicas. The Japonicas are great if you have a landscape. Some people are like, I got a landscape problem. I got a garden that's very shady. I got a big tree. It's casting a lot of shade over my yard, but I want something beautiful that'll actually bloom in that situation. Oh yeah, the Japonicas are for you. The Camellia Japonicas, they're very much like an azalea or rhododendron. They like that acidic soil. They're a woodland plant, so they're used to kind of growing under the canopy of larger trees. They really aren't going to really enjoy sitting in stagnant water. So you can pop them up. You can either amend your soil, you can plant them a little higher than the terrain around them, and just know that they like to be watered, and then they want to have well-draining soil. So there's camellia mixes that are designed just for them. So either you can pot them up and have a ton of success. When I grew up, I had one. We barely did anything to help it along, and that just flourished. It was right on our porch, got partial sun, partial shade. And it was a firecracker. These beautiful fist-sized, blood-red blossoms, Austin, just so gorgeous, really delicate. You wouldn't want to touch them. You just enjoy them. They're so beautiful.
I've seen the flowers even look like roses where they have a very high petal count.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There's just so many kinds of camellias. So, I'm really curious about maybe going to the next camellia show. I wonder if one's coming up soon. If there is, I'll try to find info about that and share it with everyone because we have a very active local camellia society. So it would be cool maybe to go meet some camellia folk, get them on this show. We should go do a field trip.
I would not mind that. I went there. I filmed a little YouTube video, but it's very much just like a tour of me walking around just going, whoa. It's so cool. I think there's people that, like I said, they're just oddly passionate about them. Even my cousin's wife posted a picture. I didn't know on like Facebook, and she was like, "This is a flower from my grandma's camellia that she planted, when she moved to her house." And so it was just cool to hear that people have like stories about their plants and how it means something, and it's how it connects to someone they loved and them moving somewhere, getting their first home or starting their family. It's kind of cool. And so actually in your neighborhood here where we record in our studio here in Midtown, tons of beautiful, like very mature camellias. I'm talking camellias as big as like people's houses and like tree-like camellias.
Yeah,
because they're so mature, I should say. They've been around for a while. But it's one of those plants, you get them established. If you have an area that gets maybe morning sun, afternoon shade, or dappled light, that's where they'll really do the best. If you have an area that goes, I got a little bit of sunlight in the afternoon, I really do want to try, that's where the Sasanquas might be a bit more of an opportunity for you.
Cool.
They're a little more tolerant.
Well, that's nice to hear. There's options if you want to try camellia. There's a couple different kinds, so you can get one that's suited for you. And I say, once you know what they look like and you start to see them pop up, you see them everywhere here because Sacramento is just full of beautiful camellias.
Low maintenance too, dude. Low maintenance.
Cool. Okay, cool. So that is exciting. That was on my mind. Thanks for telling me about camellias, Kevin. I do also want to ask you if there's just any other general seasonal, timely thing that we should be thinking about in our gardens right now or anything else that you want to talk about.
Well, hopefully people are planning out their spring and summer garden right now. When we come back from the new year,
I'm gonna be motivated to go.
Oh, dude, it's all hands on deck. I mean, we're gonna be fired up.
Let's go.
For all those people who kind of took the fall off and the winter off, it'll be time to get going. So we'll be talking starting from seeds.
Sure.
I know we'll be planting from seed a ton this year. Those peppers get started really quickly. Or we have to start them really quickly because they germinate and kind of grow a little slowly. after that, with the tomatoes and everything else, we'll get started from seed. And then hopefully, like I said, plan. Have an idea, whether it's starting your new garden or learning from past experiences in your garden and trying to like correct what you've learned or try something new. This is the time to kind of start thinking about that. And so, Austin, last week we had a fun episode. We talked about some of the lessons that we had learned this year from the podcast, in the garden, some of maybe the goals.
Yeah, we had
for
garden
next year.
reflections, trends, and goals. Yeah, that was a fun one.
Loved it. So in honor of that, it kind of got me excited. And so I put out like the feelers out into the Facebook world. So we have there's the Facebook group that we have, the Green Acres Garden Podcast group. Please check it out. Become a member. We'd love to hear from you. Post pictures. Show us all what you're growing. We'd love to hear it. There's another garden group that I follow, the Sacramento Gardening Group. Tons of amazing, fun, smart green thumbs in there. I put out the feelers. I said, hey, I'm curious. What did you learn this year in your gardens? What are you planning on doing? Like, what are your goals for next year? Dude, the responses blew me away, Austin.
I saw you got a lot of engagement with that.
More than normal.
That was cool.
And the people were so nice to share what they've learned, all this stuff. So I've dropped their last names just for anonymity, but I kept their first names, and so hopefully they're listening. And
did you pull like the best responses?
So I wrote down some of the best responses.
Okay, so remind us again. What was the prompt? What did you
It was
ask?
like, what did you learn this year in the garden? Like, what were from either mistakes or successes, and like, what are some of your goals, things that you want to do next year in your garden? And so I'll kind of cut them down a little bit to make it a little more bite-sized for us. But Rachel, she was one of the first responders. She was like, we did a succession planting of tomatoes in July. Whoa, halfway through the summer and planted more fresh seedling. I love that. And extended our season until late November.
No way.
And so I know a lot of people when you start, a lot of folks get really fired up to start early in the spring, which is totally normal. But then sometimes by the end of summer, those spring planted ones, they've kind of had their run. They start to kind of get a little worn out. But you start another batch in July, holy moly, that's pretty cool. Because by the time they start to like really flourish, that's when all the other ones, like I said, aren't doing so well. So I loved it. Smart.
That's cool. Utilizing our very long growing season.
Yes. And it's interesting because in these, you'll notice some people learn things that are the same. And then some people, their goals and their things they want to try are almost the opposite, where they want to go, I tried this, so I'm going to try that this year.
Ooh,
so we'll see.
What's one like that?
So Jason learned, I get burnt out pretty quick dealing with tiny, abundant fruits. This year, nothing that produces fruits smaller than a golf ball. So Jason he's like, every time I plant these cherry tomatoes,
right.
they do too well and they're overabundant. And he's
That's
like, I
why
can't
I
harvest
like
them all.
though.
Same, right? And sometimes when those big slicing tomatoes kind of having issues with the heat, those smaller ones tend to do really well. But when they do well, they do really well. So he's like, maybe I'll kind of go with things a little bit larger, a little bit fewer in numbers. And that makes sense for him if that's what your time allows. Kaya says, just because something is easy to grow does not mean that it needs to be planted in my garden. Goodbye, okra. She must have had a bumper crop of okra.
Too much okra.
Yeah, right? Some people just love it. They'd love it.
We keep hearing that is a popular one in Texas. Now we're doing Texas episodes, and that is a really, really good one for that area. So that's cool to... But wait. They grew too much here?
I think she must have, I think it must have been she must have been too good at growing. Kaya was too good at growing okra. But then she says, cilantro, this is what she learned. Cilantro is not a summer plant. Basil is not a winter plant. Remove tomatoes and cukes earlier next year. Plant fall garden earlier. So it's interesting to see people's different strategies, and I love that. Mm-hmm. So thank you to Kaya. Lisa, she said, I learned that dinosaur kale keeps growing into little trees that I can harvest all winter. Have you seen this?
Oh, no. Well, I know that's the lacinato kale.
Yep, lacinato, dinosaur food kale. It has that kind of ruffly skin on the leaf there. You just harvest them from below. You just do a below harvest. So you always leave a little bit of that terminal growth growing at the very top. Leave some of those leaves so that way it just kind of continues to kind of flourish and it kind of grows like a fountain.
Oh, cool.
And you just cut those bottom leaves and keep going. And so she learned that and she's having a fun time with it. And imagine being able to walk out back and just be like, I need something for dinner. Oh, I didn't go shopping.
Snip.
Snip. You cook them up, you got some greens. And I think, honestly, all of us could probably use a little bit more greens in our diet, me included. Barbara, she says, this is kind of similar. Rainbow chard is darn near bulletproof. And so she goes on to talk about how she grows it in the winter, fall, summer, spring, and it just keeps growing for her. And she's like, I just have it in my garden almost year round, and it just keeps flourishing. And kind of a similar cut and come again. And it's just one of those things that it's like giving a fruit tree as a gift. It's the gift that keeps on giving. I'm almost done here. So, and you know what? Mary said, I like creating microclimates in my garden. So she said, before I planned out my garden, I paid close attention to where the sun moved across the space. So I laid out my beds to optimize the sun exposure. I positioned my trellises to run north and south so that both sides receive sunlight. Smart. That's how our rows at the garden run. You know, you're running your rows. It's just interesting. Anytime you're going to plant a garden, just do a little bit of thought, a little bit of planning. Look at where that sun goes. How much sun do you get? If it's going to be a veggie garden, it's got to be at least 6 to 8 hours. Any less than that, and you're fighting yourself. Now, here's the last one. Diane is going to leave us with her words of wisdom. And I thought that this was really great because it makes sense. So Diane says, if I don't plant it, it can't grow. And I love that because don't be afraid to plant something. Don't be afraid of killing the plant. Don't be afraid of making a mistake. If you want success, it'll only happen if you try. And so some part of gardening is not that difficult. Sometimes things work out. Sometimes maybe you go, I probably could have been better. You learn from it and you move on.
Wow.
And actually that leads to her last words of wisdom. Diane says, mistakes are lessons. Just learn from them.
Yep.
Yeah. And so any kind of mistake or any kind of perceived failure in the garden or landscape, that's not a failure. It's not a bad thing. Just learn from it, do a little research, ask around, and you'll find out what happened and ways to avoid that. And so, yeah, anything that happens in the garden, good or bad, is actually all good as long as you learn from it.
Very
So
cool.
I loved it. I thought that kind of dovetailed in nicely with last week's episodes of our own lessons and goals. I'm sure people listening are like, I've learned a bunch this year out in the garden, and I've got a bunch of goals. Like you said, we're going to get fired up and really, I mean, we're hit the ground running when
we can take it easy now, but in January, it's on. We're going for it. I have a lot of garden goals. So
I love it. What's a garden goal for you?
I hope that you help me out with that. Well, irrigation. I need to set up my irrigation.
That. Yeah.
And then I'm going to do, I'm going to double down on all the crops that did well for me last year and more of those. So I have some ideas, a couple new things to try.
That's what Samuel said. Stick to varieties that you've had success with.
Yeah, I don't want to, try, because I just tried a lot of new things, and now I'm like, okay, here's what worked well. I'm going to stick with that and try to have more continued success with those.
Love that. Yeah, I'll do like 90% or so of stuff I know that I've had some success with, and then I always leave a little 10% of the garden for something new and something interesting.
Yeah, I was flip-flops from that last year. So I want to get down to it, get successful. Wow, thank you for sharing all of those responses from the group. And big thank you to the group for kindly engaging with that and having a good time with it. Lots of great advice. If you aren't a member and you're in the Sacramento area, I highly recommend it. It's a great resource. A lot of green thumbs in there that really know their stuff. So go check out the Sacramento Gardening Group on Facebook, but also join our group. Our podcast group is fun too. There's a link to that in the episode description. Kevin, thank you for schooling me up. Thank you for sharing your citrus with me. Thanks for talking about citrus, the pruning and the spraying that needs to happen now. Thank you for talking about camellias. They're looking so beautiful right now.
Oh, yeah.
And the inspiration from all of our community gardeners. Thank you all for sharing. That is all the time we have for this week. Kevin, go ahead and take us out.
Man, where does the time go when we record it? It just flies by. I have so much fun doing the podcast. So shout out to all those folks who contributed. I really appreciated that. And a big thank you to all you green thumbs out there for tuning in every week. We just love doing this. We love having you here. And just best wishes to you. I hope you had lots of lessons learned this year. And I cannot wait to see your goals become accomplished. Until next time, garden friends, happy gardening to you all. And please, never stop growing.
Citrus. I'm going to eat some more.
Eat it, dude. Tear it. I'm going to take a bite.
I don't even know which one to grab.